What's going on, Reaching One family? I wanted to come to you today just to kind of share with you a devotion that I had on a character in the Bible by the name of James. Martyred in AD 62, wrote his book between 45 and 49 AD, and the eldest son of Mary and Joseph, half-brother of Jesus. And in the beginning, he was a scoffer, a skeptic, an unbeliever, and along with his three other brothers, Joseph, Simon, and Jude. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Because you would think that people that have grown up with Jesus would have, at least had so much of a relationship with him. They knew what he liked, what he didn't like, his mannerisms, everything, right? So they didn't have a problem with Jesus. They just had a problem with his claim to being the Messiah. And I can imagine that must have been hard on Mary too, because, she can't tell her kids this, right? So anyway, James, being that unbeliever that he was, came to be a believer at some point, right? Because he wrote the book. He became one of the leaders in the church. Now that sequence that has happened came about after he saw the resurrected Jesus Christ in the upper room with the apostles. You see, James had to see his brother go through crucifixion in order to still not be convinced until after he saw him alive again. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? Jesus was destined for greatness, of course, and his brothers still didn't believe it. You have a James in your life? You see, James was such a follower that he says he was a bondservant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ in his book. How does he get there? He was thrown to a pinnacle of a temple, and because he didn't die, he got beat to death with a club. Now, there are three historians that have written about James. Flavius Josephus, Eusebius from Caesarea, and Hegesippus the Nazarene. So you can look these three up, find out that they wrote about him. And they also gave him a nickname called Old Camel Knees, because they said that James had prayed so much that his knees looked like camel knees. So you have all these things that have happened to James, all these things that he has dealt with, and yet he was able to be converted and follow Jesus. If he can do that, you can do that. Anybody can do that. So take a little time to think about this. If you have a James in your life, just know anything is possible.